Having wonderful boundaries is something that people often tell me they feel mean about. On one hand, they understand that they don't have boundaries and that they're suffering because of it. They're overwhelmed, people take them for granted, they've got too much to do, all those kind of things. But the truth about boundaries is if you don't have them, you can't truly connect with people. Therefore, boundaries, having great boundaries, is an act of incredible compassion. It's not divisive. In fact, it's the opposite. Boundaries are not divisive. Boundaries allow you to tell people where they can meet you safely. Hey, here's my boundary. Here are my expectations and my personal desires, and I would love for you to meet me here. Now, when two people can meet and both have the expression of their boundaries celebrated and honored, it becomes an amazing and divine interaction. Because the thing is, if you can't say no, you can't say yes either. If yes is the only language you know, if caretaking others and just giving way more than you have to give is the only language you know, you can't really connect. You are looking for approval and validation of yourself through your service and through those lack of boundaries. You are saying to the world when you don't have boundaries, I need your approval, and this is how I feel like I earn it. And so we get into, at this point, the domestication of humans, right? From the time that we are, it starts happening really in utero, but definitely from the time we're born, our moms and dads and caretakers and families and communities and churches and televisions begin to mold us and to form us and to create neural networks in our brain that make connections to survival. If I act this way, I receive this reward. Positive or negative, doesn't matter, because attention is attention to a child. And so some of us learn how to get attention that we would consider positive, and some of us learn how to get attention that we would consider negative, but both kinds are meeting a need inside. So our boundaries, or our lack of boundaries, really comes from that domestication process and what we feel is socially acceptable and how we can behave in the world and still feel as if we are being lovable and acceptable so that we don't become unworthy, which is the core fear in in everyone I've ever met. Maybe it's not the case for everyone, but definitely in the people who are drawn to me and to this work, that core of feeling unworthy and unlovable has been there in every single person that I've ever met and ever worked with. And I think it is our common wound, our common birth wound, because we come from this warm place where all of our needs are met in our mom's tummy, whether it was a good experience or bad experience. All of our needs must have been met because we survived. And then we come out into the world and we have to start asking for our needs to be met through crying or whatever methods that we can employ. So have great boundaries. Have really good boundaries, and you will have really good relationships if you learn how to decide and intuit and figure out what it is you need and what it is you want and how to hold that space for yourself. Be compassionate with yourself and be compassionate with others who don't know how to relate to you in that space yet. If you've lived your whole life not having certain boundaries and now you have new ones, your family is, they might resist a little. So have some compassion because they love you. They're trying to connect with you in the way that they know how. And so you may have to teach them differently. You may have to set different boundaries altogether and, have some new relationships as well. So, anyway, boundaries, good. Boundaries are good. Have them and have much better relationships.